Welcome to HS Game Time Live. I'm Pep Fernandez, and thank you very much for hanging around. I got all dressed up with nowhere to go, but the show has finally started. We're glad you're joining us. It's the quarterfinals of the CIF playoffs, and we've got a ton of scores and highlights to run down. And let's start in the Inland Division where the big boys play. Vista Murrieta and Centennial both in action. We've got highlights on both those games coming up in just a little bit. But first, let's run through some of those scores from the Inland Division. Javier, Angel, let's crank up the Inland Division scoreboard first and check out what happened tonight in the quarterfinals. We start with Vista Murrieta and Norco. The Broncos go on the road and win 31-16. So Vista Murrieta is moving on. If you've got a CIF playoff bracket like I do right in front of me, go ahead and start filling them out just like March Madness here. So Vista Murrieta is moving on to the semifinals with a 31-16 victory. We have highlights of that game coming up in just a moment. Now to the next game in the Inland Division. It was Rancho Cucamonga taking on Charter Oak, and Rancho Cucamonga wins 23-7. So you know what that means. It's Vista Murrieta taking on Rancho Cucamonga in the Inland Division semifinals. That's one side of the bracket. Now let's go to the other side. Let's go to the Upland against Redlands score. And the Terriers come up short in this one. Upland doubles up Redlands 28-14. So the other side of that matchup there is Centennial taking on Murrieta Valley. And tonight, Centennial wins a shootout, 72-35 the final score. So Centennial will take on Upland in the semifinals next Friday in the Inland Division. All right, back here live here in the studio. Now we're going to get to some of those highlights from the Inland Division. We're going to start with Vista Murrieta on the road at Norco. Angel, go ahead and roll those highlights. Vista Murrieta on the road taking on a Cougars team that can score a lot of points, but so can the Broncos, and they've got that great defense as well. Early in this one, quarterback Nick Stevens fakes, calls his own number, and goes in for the touchdown, and Vista Murrieta is on the board. Then back the other way. Norco going to the air. You know they can run the ball, but they can also go to the air. Colton Gerhardt fakes it, goes to the end zone. He's got the touchdown strike for the Cougars. But Vista Murrieta would answer. And they are in the red zone around the 20-yard line. Nick Stevens giving it to, I believe it's Keyshawn Holmes, number 4, going in for the score. Vista Murrieta goes on to win. Come back here live in the studio as Vista Murrieta goes on to win by a final score, as we said, 31-16. They will meet Rancho Cucamonga in the Inland Division semifinals. Now moving on to Redlands taking on Upland. And before the game, I ran into a gal named Katrina Aguila, and her son Chris is currently stationed in Japan. Now I'm going to try to get the name of this city in Japan correct. It's Yokosuka, I think. Yokosuka, Japan, stationed over there with the Navy. So Chris, we hear you watch HS Game Time Live every week. We appreciate the support. More so, we appreciate you for, defending our country and serving the United States. And thank you for watching here at HS Game Time Live. In fact, Chris, we caught up with your mom, Katrina, who was there watching your younger brother, who currently plays for the Terriers. We caught up with Katrina, and she had a message for you, Chris.
Hi, Chris. We're out here at Anthony's game, as you know, and we just want to let you know how much we love you, and we're supporting you, and we're all rooting you on as much as you're rooting on Anthony. We wish you could be here, and we know that you can't, but we're all here for you, and you're here for him. So we're going to get this one for you tonight. Love you.
There's my favorite Redlands cheerleader, Amelia Sequeira, doing some backflips there. Early on, Craig Lee, the future UCLA Bruin. Maybe he'll be at the game tomorrow against USC, hanging out. Big run there. Then check out Lee, 45 yards to the paint. And after the touchdown, he's greeted by Jared Lale, who's been paving the way for Lee all season long on the line. 7-zip Terriers. Later in the first quarter, it's Anthony Aguila. Chris, I hope you're watching all the way from Japan, because there's Anthony making a big stop on the Upland quarterback there. Then later, on that same drive, Upland would find the end zone. The quarterback, Nate Romine, goes in for the touchdown and evens the game at 7 apiece. Now we move to the second quarter, and Romine does it again. He gives Upland the lead, 14-7, diving in for the touchdown. Craig Lee did have a big night. He was somewhere around 180 yards in the game. Check out this run here in the second quarter, but the Terriers would come up empty on that drive despite the big run from Lee. Redlands needing some defensive stops against Upland. How about Sebastian Peterson? The big stop there for Redlands. But as we mentioned, you saw the score. The Terriers and Jim Walker come up short against Upland, losing 28-14, your final score. All right, back here live in the studio. Now we are moving on to the Central Division. Top-seeded Citrus Hill on the road at Rialto. We'll have the highlights in just a second, but first, let's go to the scoreboard from the Central Division. We start with Colony and Paloma Valley. Paloma Valley, the Wildcats, going into the playoffs, super hot. 2 big wins in a row, 56-14 against Colony, your final score. The Rancho Verde edging Elsinore 42-40. We will have highlights of this game, if not tonight during the live show, definitely in the Saturday Scouting Report as the Rancho Verde is moving on. Let me get out my bracket here. I'm filling this thing out. So it's Rancho Verde and Paloma Valley in the semifinals. Kaiser and Temescal Canyon, and it's Kaiser edging Temescal Canyon 14-10. So Kaiser is moving on, and they will face the winner of Arlington and Heritage, and it's the Patriots. 35-7. We'll have highlights of Heritage and Arlington coming up in just a moment. So it's Heritage and Kaiser in the semifinals. So back here live in the studio, if you're looking at the Central Division, we've got Paloma Valley and Rancho Verde, and Heritage taking on Kaiser next Friday, the semis in the Central Division. All right, now to the highlights from the Central Division. Let's start with top-seeded Citrus Hill on the road at Rialto. The Knights coming off a big win against Norte Vista to open their playoff run. All right, Angel, let's crank up those highlights. We start with Citrus Hill, and that's quarterback Trevor Hodge to K.J. Young. Those guys make it look so easy, so good. They're on the same page week in and week out. Then later the Knights, though, they answer. They got a good tandem here. Javon Morgan to Willie Moore. He goes in for the score, and we're all tied up at 7 apiece. Then later in the first quarter, I'm going to slip into my PJs. That's my PJ. P.J. Walker rattles off 90 yards on this touchdown run. You're not going to get him. He goes in for the touchdown. And Citrus Hill, that loaded offense, rolling in this one on the road at Rialto. Now it's Hodge to PJ. Yeah, he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. He's going to take this one all the way down to about the Knights' 20-yard line. And he did the work. Well, it's time to get paid. PJ going in for the touchdown for Citrus Hill. Now the Hawks, they can play some defense too. Rialto with the ball. They're looking downfield, but there's Jack Brown. What can Brown do for you? How about an INT for Citrus Hill? And then it's Hodge to KJ Young. Now check this out. Over the shoulder, lays out. He's got it inside the 5-yard line. Great catch there. And that sets up my PJ. In for the touchdown. Another Citrus Hill score. But Rialto looking to hang with the high-octane Citrus Hill offense. Morgan to Moore. Check out this move downfield. Willie Moore is a pretty special player. Splits 2 defenders and goes in for the touchdown here. Rialto hoping to hang with the Hawks. Now it's Hodge to Young. He's going to get to the edge, and Hodge lives on the edge. If he gets to the edge, he's gone, and you saw it right there. Untouched, in for the touchdown. And Trevor Hodge, though, and to KJ Young wasn't the only, connection going for Citrus Hill. They also have got James Uten in for the touchdown there for Citrus Hill. Great grab there in the end zone. Rialto did keep this thing close. They kept battling, but in the end, Citrus Hill just a little too much. They've got a lot of firepower on offense. There's another Rialto touchdown, though. Robert Hampton in for the score. But Citrus Hill wins 54-28, your final score. All right, back here live in the studio. We've got Citrus Hill, and that was in the Eastern Division. And we're going to get to that in just a second. We're going to go on now to Beaumont. Beaumont was home against Serrano, so now we're in the Eastern Division. We just had the Central Division scores, but now Beaumont also in the Eastern Division. I got my brackets out, so let's see. Yeah, Beaumont taking on Serrano. So let's go ahead and roll that video, Angel, and check that one out. Here come the Cougars. And there's Jacob Uliberry. But I like to mispronounce his name on purpose, and people still calling me, which, by the way, like 3 or 4 different people contacted me, and they all said his name differently. So I'm going with Uliberry, even though everyone tells me something different. That was a Serrano touchdown, and here comes another big Serrano run here. And as you can see, Serrano was a tough task. Here comes another Serrano touchdown. They built a 14-0 lead at Beaumont. The Cougars, though, they would fight back in this one. This is Josh Martin in at quarterback. Where's Uliberry? Now he hooks up there with number 6, Greg Rincon for the big gain. and then Martin rolls out, and he's got the touchdown strike there. But Beaumont coming up short in this one by a final score of 52-7. So we've got Javier here. So that was their only touchdown of the game, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Serrano definitely came out and was all over the place on the field. Beaumont, surprisingly, they started off the game with 2 fumbles from the first 2 drives. So your boy Ulibarri, he really had.
It's Ulibarri. Come on,
Ulibarri. Man, come on, we're missing up the guy's name. But
real quick, so I said Ulibarri, and then someone told you it was like Ulibarri or something like that, and then someone hit me up on Facebook and said no, it's Ulibarri, and then someone hit me up on an email and said no, it's Ulibarri. So we've got like 4 different pronunciations. I'm going to Ulibarri.
Just call him by his first name,
Jacob. So, but unfortunately, we won't get to say his name anymore because Beaumont's out of the playoffs. So, I mean, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, it sounds like, from the early going, right?
Right. But the guys definitely have high let me start all over again.
The
guys definitely had high spirits after, they went down 14-0. Martin came in and he definitely brought them back with that touchdown and to cut it to 14-17. No, what's going on here? 14-7.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There it is.
Anyways, but yeah, they were definitely staying put. But then, I guess Serrano just went all over them. I think it's just because I left really early.
So you're there with the camera. They did pretty well, and then you left and not so well. All right, Javier, hold tight real quick. Angel, let's go to those Eastern Division scores if we can. And we'll have Javier just sit here on the couch because we're going to get the Banning in just a second. There it is, Citrus Hill. You just saw the highlights, 54-28 in the Eastern Division. So the Hawks are moving on. And they will face now the winner of Tockwitz and Oak Hills. Tockwitz, a shootout. Man, I guess they left the defense at the door. 67-56. So it's Tockwitz taking on Citrus Hill. League rivals meeting in the semifinals. Now let's go into the Beaumont-Serrano score. Serrano winning 52-7. So they will get now Carter. Carter defeated Burroughs by final score of 20-3. So Carter went on the road all the way to Ridgecrest, California, and they beat the Burroughs 20-3. All right, back here live over here in the lounge. Now, Javier, you did the Beaumont route, and then you went to Banning.
Right.
So Beaumont had a hard time scoring points, but you got to Banning. That was completely the opposite,
totally
right?
Different. Sty Harriston, again, another night, just guy going all over the place. 80-plus yards and, 3 of his touchdowns?
Yeah, we had some ridiculous stat that he had nearly 400 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
He finished with 8 touchdowns. Let's go ahead and roll the video, Angel. There's Sty Harriston. And Javier, he's not very shy for the camera, right? He enjoys finding the camera.
He was loving tonight. The guy was definitely having a night.
Now you got there in the second quarter?
Yeah.
And Sty started popping off. Here, this one goes for about 80 yards. And we've got EPJ on the case trying to look at the numbers because Sty Harriston might have broken the touchdown and rushing record for a single season in the area. So he's looking at that. I smell an EPJ by the numbers coming about Sty Harriston once again. Here's another touchdown run. This is still in the second quarter, right, Hoff?
Yes, all of it was in the second quarter.
So there he is. What up, Sty? Banning was building that big lead. Linfield Christian, though, the quarterback goes in there for a touchdown. I think that was their only touchdown of the game. We'll have to check out the final score. And this is the third quarter now. And Sty went from number 17. Now he's back to number 8. Nice run there. A little chippy there at the end. Hard tackle at the end of the play. And here comes Sty. No, that's number 2. That's number 2 going in for the score. Alvin Harper. I get stuck on Sty Harriston.
Yeah.
And when they do touchdowns at Banning, they got to do push-ups. But you said there was too many push-ups, right? The score was so high, so they did jumping jacks.
The cheerleaders were just tired after the 50th point.
Well, you know what? Keep doing the jumping jacks, ladies, because there goes Sty Harriston once again in for the touchdown. Final score of, let me get to my East Valley bracket. You can come back here live in the lounge, Angel. Oh, wait. Can we go back to the ladies real quick? I'm sorry. Those
are my friends. Jasmine.
Okay. Yeah, Jasmine.
Jasmine, China, and
Ashlyn.
Yeah.
So a shout out to the ladies out there at Banning. Which one's the scorekeeper? That's
Jasmine.
Jasmine. And there's Sty. All right, Angel, we can come back here live. Okay, so a big shout out to the gals on the Banning sideline. Looks like they'll be back in action against next Friday because Banning will be taking on Rim of the World. Rim of the World, we'll get to all the scores in just a moment, beat St. Margaret's. So we'll have a rematch next week. So Sty Harriston, almost 400 yards by halftime. He finished with 8 touchdowns. Someone texted me, my good buddy Damian Gallardo said he even caught a touchdown pass. Did you know that? He caught a touchdown as well?
Sty?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So, I mean, you've seen Sty a couple times. I mean,
right.
Just talk about what you saw tonight.
Sty is really fun. He's really, he's like one of those players that you go on a video game and try to just go all out with him. He's that kind of player. He's actually like that. And, the guy is just unbelievable. Like, he makes me want to watch football every Friday night.
It's like a video game. It's not like real with him. It's some guy described him as slippery quick.
Yeah,
can't grab him and he's super fast. So
yeah, I mean it's unbelievable how he's able to just break defenses and just go for 80+ yards every single play. And he's also sometimes he plays defense. So I don't know, like the guy just has so much energy, and every time he's always on the field doing something, kept returning balls, making touchdowns, playing defense.
And I still harp on this that he wasn't even the starting quarterback when the season began. They had some other guy and he moved, and they said, "Hey, Sty, why don't you try quarterback? Let's see what you can do back there." And the rest is history. So now they got Rim of the World in the East Valley Division semifinals next Friday. And we're going to talk about Sty in our newest Anchorman skit, which is coming up later in the show. Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, I did.
You did? Okay.
I did.
You got a little sneak preview.
Yeah, they were talking about it at the sidelines.
They were?
Yeah.
Were they talking about the Eulaberry?
No, at Banny. And they thought it was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah, because I did mention the Sty and the little tease. We had a little Anchorman tease on our Facebook page and Twitter that you could have checked out. Ja Rule, blow it up. Boom. All right, Angel, let's check out the East Valley Division scores. Ontario Christian, the top seed, doubles up Big Bear, 28-14, your final score. Now let's go on to Citrus Valley and Harupa Hills. And Harupa Hills edging the Blackhawks, 23-21. So it's Harupa Hills taking on Ontario Christian in the East Valley Division semifinals. Now moving on to that Banning Linfield Christian score, 71-14. So Sty Harriston and the Broncos coming up big time to set up that showdown with Rim of the World. Let's go to the next score. Rim of the World and St. Margaret's, 28-14. I had the numbers somewhere. I've got too many papers around here, but Jacob Taylor, the running back for the Fighting Scots, had over 300 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns, all 4 of the touchdowns for Rim of the World. So it's Rim and Banning in the semifinals next week. So that should be a great rematch there in the East Valley Division. All right, real quick before we move on, let's take a quick look at the HS Game Time rankings heading into the quarterfinals of the playoffs. As we mentioned, all season long, the top 3 have been not budging at all from the top spots. In Murrieta Valley, they did lose to Centennial tonight. Carter a winner, Heritage a winner, Norco losing to Vista Murrieta. The Rancho Verde won, Redlands lost to Upland, and Elsinore also lost because they lost to the Rancho Verde in that one. So the rankings will change when you check back next week. All right, back here live in the studio, Vista Murrieta's Sua Cravens. The guy does everything for Vista Murrieta. Great player. He's headed to USC. He's also now in the running for a prestigious national honor as the Player of the Year given out by the Army. Check out this. Running back Adrian Peterson and quarterback Terrell Pryor. Cravens, a future USC Trojan, has starred on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball for the Broncos, as well as special teams, leading Vista Murrieta to an undefeated record so far. The U.S. Army Player of the Year winner will be announced during the Army Awards dinner on January 4th in San Antonio. Cravens will then play in the Army All-American Bowl the following day in the Alamo Dome. The game will be nationally televised on NBC. And there's a live look at the newsroom as the fine folks here at the Press Enterprise are cranking out Saturday's edition of the newspaper, getting you all the scores and stories from the quarterfinals of the CIF playoffs. And I'm sure Saturday's paper will be great. But if you can't wait until Saturday morning, we're still going strong here on the live show. It's, 11:15. I think we'll probably make it to midnight because we got a little late start with our system. Wanted to lock up right before we did the show. Of course, perfect timing. But we got on here. We're doing it live, and we will probably be going strong for another, 30 or 40 minutes. So please hang with us. We'll get through all the scores and highlights in just a moment. All right, we're going to get Chris Erkley here in just a second. He's got highlights of Murrieta Valley taking on Centennial, as well as Paloma Valley hosting Colony. So Chris will have those highlights. We'll be right back after you take a quick commercial break.
We're launching the Press Southwest. Our newspaper edition distributed in Southwest Riverside County will include more local content and a distinct new look, starting with its new front page and its new name. More local news, more local sports, and more local savings. With the latest news deadlines in Southwest Riverside County, we bring up-to-the-date City Council and School Board meeting recaps and the latest prep sports scores. A new and improved look with a front page will highlight local news and the sports section will highlight local sports. John Hunneman, the preeminent voice and columnist of Southwest Riverside County, joins the Press Southwest staff to add more authentic and local perspective. The most extensive coverage of local news and local high school sports in Riverside County. More values from local businesses to make your shopping more convenient. The Press Enterprise Southwest. Start your day in the right direction.
And welcome back to HS Game Time Live. Chris Erkley working on those Centennial highlights against Murrieta Valley. In just a moment, we'll have those, as well as Paloma Valley taking on Colony. And we'll keep it in the Inland Division, tell you that Vista Murrieta was taking on Norco. This game was pretty close until the end. Let's go ahead and roll the video, Angel, and show you some of the early stuff from this one. We will have complete highlights of Vista Murrieta taking on Norco for the Saturday Scouting Report. So complete highlights, a ton of good stuff from Vista Murrieta taking on Norco. But we did have some video come in tonight, and that's Nick Stevens, the Broncos quarterback, calling his own number, and he goes in there for the touchdown. Norco, though, they were hanging tough with Vista Murrieta. We are Norco. Colton Gerhardt, he likes to run, but he can pass too. The touchdown strike here for the Cougars. Then back the other way, Vista Murrieta. It's Nick Stevens. He's going to give the ball off to Keyshawn Holmes. What up, Holmes? He's going to go in for the touchdown, and Vista Murrieta goes on to defeat Norco by a final score of 31-16. So as we told you, let's come back here live in the studio, Angel. As we told you, we will have bonus highlights, a lot of highlights from Vista Murrieta and Norco. Our guy Rex Robertson was at the game, and he will have a ton of good stuff from that one on the Saturday Scouting Report. Now moving on to Redlands taking on Upland. I was at the game, and a Terrier's mom, her name was Katrina Aguila. She has a son named Chris who used to play for Redlands and is currently with the Navy stationed in Japan. And she told me that he watches HS Game Time Live every Friday night. He loves the show. He likes to see what's going on, especially with his Terriers. And tonight we got a special message from his mom to Chris all the way over in Japan.
Hi, Chris. We're out here at Anthony's game, as you know, and we just want to let you know how much we love you and we're supporting you and we're all rooting you on as much as you're rooting on Anthony. We wish you could be here, and we know that you can't, but we're all here for you and you're here for him. So we're going to get this one for you tonight. Love you.
Thanks for watching, Chris, and thank you for your service. There's Jim Walker and his Terriers. My favorite cheerleader, Amelia Sequeira, doing some backflips there. How about Craig Lee? He's headed to UCLA. He'll probably be watching that big game with USC tomorrow, but tonight's breaking off big runs like that one to midfield. And this one going 45 yards all the way to the end zone. And after the touchdown run, he's greeted by Jared Lale, who's been paving the way for Lee all season long. on most of his touchdowns, 7 zip Terriers. But later in the first quarter, Upland would respond. Actually, not yet, because there's Anthony Aguila. Forgot about him. There's Chris. I hope you're watching. There's your younger brother making a great play on the Upland quarterback. But later on that drive, Upland would find the paint. Nate Romine, the quarterback, goes in to tie the game at 7 apiece. Now we move to the second quarter. Romine calls his own number and slices through traffic, dives in for the touchdown there. And Upland takes the lead 14-7. Lee had a big night, about 180 yards on the ground. Here's another big run late in the second quarter, but Redlands would stall on this drive. The Terriers needing some defensive stops to hang with Upland in this one. They got one here. Sebastian Peterson, the big stop, but Redlands would come up short for Jim Walker in this one. Final score of 28-14. All right, Chris Erickley standing by with some more highlights, but first let's check out those Inland Division scores from the quarterfinals. All right, let's go to the Vista Murrieta Norco score 31-16. The Broncos are moving on, and they got the winner of Rancho Cucamonga and Charter Oak. Let's go to that score, and it's Rancho Cucamonga 23-7. So Vista Murrieta and Rancho Cucamonga will meet on Friday in the semis. Now on the other side of the bracket, we had Upland and Redlands. Upland won 28-14, and they get Centennial, who defeated Murrieta Valley 72-35. Right, over here live in the HS Game Time Lounge, and that is where we go next. Chris Erickley was at that game.
Southwest Centennial. There was in Murrieta Valley no shortage of offense tonight. The only thing missing was the defense. I think that the defense had gone on Thanksgiving vacation already for both teams. That certainly seemed to be the case.
So you were pulling double duty tonight. You started at Paloma Valley, which you got a couple quick touchdowns there. Then you went to
it was 21-0. Then I saw on the Twitter that things were kind of turning into a bit of a shootout at the Murrieta Valley Centennial game. So I put a ring on it and rushed my way over to Murrieta Valley High School. A packed crowd out there tonight. Pep Centennial had a full force over there in their bleachers. Murrieta Valley had a full force in their bleachers. It was definitely a shootout, to say the least. If we can fire,
we're gonna get to the video in just
ready.
a second. Yeah, but first, so Centennial putting up 72 on a Nighthawks defense that we've talked about earlier in the season.
Nighthawks defense has impressed at times, but they also definitely against the top elite teams of the IE, they have struggled. Of course, we know Vista Murrieta managed to put up some points against them, and now tonight Centennial. Man, I don't want to announce, I guess we can announce it since we have said the score. 70 points for Centennial tonight. Definitely, I've seen Centennial twice this year, and I have to say their offense is a well-oiled machine.
Well, according to
second to none, maybe.
You know, EPJ loves his numbers and stats.
He does.
He crunched them. He says that they're the only local team averaging more than 500 yards of total offense at this point, and not many teams have been able to sustain that over the course of an entire season. So tonight's game, I'm sure, falls in more than 500 yards of total offense.
Yes, I think they had that at halftime.
You're probably right. Okay, we've got the video. We're good to go, Chris.
All right, let's rock and roll. Oh, we got Paloma Valley here. I guess no. We're going to switch it over. We wanted Centennial. False alarm. Matt Logan, shorts on, game on. That's his policy. That's what he has to say. Murrieta Valley down 42-14 mid-second quarter. Andrew Blake, though, hooking up with the touchdown with Alex Marion, 42-21 that point. Hey, but how about little Bobby Weber, the old QB for Centennial, running that one in. There'd be plenty more of that, 49-21. Damon Nolan loved being on HS Game Time Place of the Week so much last week. He said, hey, Pep, why don't we do it again? This time a 100-yard touchdown return. The kid his cardio is good. I mean, look at the way all the mileage that he's been running up on special teams the last 2 weeks. 49-28 the score at that point. First play of the next drive, though. Pep, you like cream of wheat. Centennial prefers Joe Wheat. He's gone for his second TD of the game now. 56-28 Centennial, a real defensive battle. Nighthawks trying to keep up with Blake on the screen pass to Jacob Augustine. He's gone for about 70 yards for the Murrieta Valley touchdown. The Husky offensive machine just could not be stopped, though. Weber over the middle to Troy Dye. How about that one? Touchdown for Husky Nation once again. A rare sight defense in this game. This time it is Jalen Johnson with the sack on Blake. Then back at it again, it's little Bobby Weber. How about that? 8 touchdowns on the night for him. 6 passing and 2 on the ground. He was definitely the MVP for Centennial tonight.
Sounds like a Sty Harriston kind of night with those 8 touchdowns.
I think he got maybe he got the memo from Al. From our buddy Al there out at the Banning game and said, hey, I'm going for the record. If Harriston's going for the record, I'm going for a record of my own. I don't know if he's ever had 8 touchdowns in a game tonight, but
Weber?
Definitely.
Sty has, apparently.
Yeah, Sty the Vi.
He actually switched back to number 8 tonight. I don't know if you saw the highlights. He had 8, and then he went to 17, and now he's back to number 8.
I think he was trying to throw him off, maybe.
Undercover. They won't know who I am.
They wouldn't know. They thought maybe some guy called it from JV, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
Now
Until he started running.
I heard some chatter on the Centennial sideline after tonight's victory that they will be at home next week. Is that correct?
That sounds right. I ran out here and didn't even check.
Well, because Upland was on the road.
Was on the road at Redlands.
But I heard that, and so was Centennial. But I heard that the coin flip goes in Centennial's favor. That's what my Centennial insiders had to say. And what about with that Vista? What's their deal?
What's Vista's deal? Let's see.
So
Vista was on the road.
Cucamonga?
Rancho Cucamonga was. I don't know if they were home or on the road. But we know they're playing Rancho Cucamonga. But we'll have to find out who's hosting. Yeah, who won the coin flip for that.
Another team that impressed after Pep was the lone guy that picked them in the pick'em last week. Paloma Valley. They were ready to go to work against Colony. Believe they did from the start of the game. Let's roll out to Paloma Valley. The band was rocking, and so was the offense. This play a little tricky. Ray Golden looking to get Paloma off to a golden start. He thinks he's got a pick 6. It's all celebration for Paloma Valley, but they call a little block in the back there late. They would preserve the pick, though. That would be good. And how about Pep's buddy David Solis? He's the bacon to Paloma's cheese. He puts on the spin moves on his way to the touchdown. All Paloma tonight. More from the Paloma D. This time it's Felix Bogroff. I like that name with the pickpocket. Paloma back to work on offense. This time, Brent Bohm letting it fly to Marcus Page. They're wide open for the 40-yard pickup. They're just making it look easy over there at Paloma. Then Pep's boy Solis back at it once again with yet another touchdown. How about it? Then Matt Orzik getting involved on the defensive side for Paloma, causing a lot of problems for Colony this time. The sack on the quarterback. All Paloma tonight. They win 56-14. Paloma is looking like a machine after that big W last week that you so boldly predicted, and then a just dominating performance this week. Watch out for them. But hey, Rancho Verde, here they come, right?
Yeah, I mean Paloma Valley's red hot right now. But the Rancho Verde, the defending champion in the Central Division. So let's see if I can.
Can you go? Would you be bold and pick Paloma
to go Paloma Valley? I'm going to have to sleep on that one. I don't know. I want to pick Paloma Valley. I really do. But
they were at home. Rancho, were they on the road? Was Rancho?
Rancho was on the road.
So it will be at Rancho.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. It's hard to pick against the defending champ, especially because they're playing really well. It looks like they're finally at full strength. They've been battling injuries all through the season. But Paloma Valley is playing their best football here at the end.
Although Elsinore almost snuck up on Rancho.
Kind of like their first meeting. Yeah. Rancho Verde built a big lead. Elsinore came back, but this time around, Rancho Verde held them off. Elsinore actually beat them in the opener to the season.
Could be a tough game.
What do you think, Paloma Valley?
Paloma,
and Rancho?
This is the thing. I feel like Paloma either is 5-star or they kind of drop an egg. So it's really kind of a flip of the coin. Obviously, we know that Rancho Verde does have the experience winning in the CIF championship game against I forget who they beat.
Palm Springs.
How did I?
Some school out there that way.
Anyways, I just feel like Rancho has the experience. They do have a lot of fresh faces on the offense, but at Rancho, I'm going to have to give a slight advantage to them, but should be a good game.
Now, you had the Paloma Valley highlights. We will have highlights of Rancho Verde taking on Elsinore. Probably not tonight by the time we go off the air, but definitely on the big Saturday show.
That game?
The great Jeff Parenti was at the game, and he's an excellent videographer as well.
Yes.
So he's getting some good video highlights. All right, Chris, thank you very much. You will be back one more time as we kind of reset those games from Centennial versus Murrieta Valley and Colony taking on Paloma Valley. All right, real quick, we're going to take a break. And I nearly missed tonight's show. Luckily, I am here. I nearly missed it. And here's what almost happened. Hurry, everyone. Come see how good I look.
Ronaldo. Pep Fernandez is out this week. He's taking his family on a trip to Ridgecrest to watch Carter against the Burros.
Oh, yes. Founded by Jeff Steinberg in 1821. He then moved his family to Miller before settling at Santiago.
Ronaldo. Can you fill in for Pep and be host of HS Game Time Live?
Does Rancho Christian have a football team? Oh, that was a bad choice. Yes, I would love to fill in for Pep. He is one of the greatest broadcasters of our generation, a true Inland Empire treasure. But you have to give the people what they want. That's me on High School Gamma Team.
Sorry, it's still HS Game Time.
So let's talk playoffs, because I am a playoff expert. I've got a really good feeling about Summit. So Banning is trying some guy named Sty Harriston at quarterback. He's never even played quarterback. Sounds like a disaster.
He's actually scored almost 50 touchdowns this season.
Really? Because I think you're making that up. Speaking of quarterbacks, my friend and true gentleman, Josh Martin, is now playing receiver at Beaumont. And the new Cougars quarterback is Jacob Ulibarri. Ulibarri? Ulibarri. Ulibarri? Ulibarri. Moving on, one of the biggest surprises this playoff season has to be, do I smell Norco funnel cakes? One of my favorite players has to be Moreno Valley's Waki Suliafu. Now say it slow with me. Suliafu. Translated into English means, did you use my shampoo? Did you? Did you? So in my previous appearance on High School Gamma Team, I misspoke, which rarely happens. Sua Cravens is not going to UC Riverside to play football. He's actually going into the Army.
No, actually, he's playing in the Army All-American Bowl, but he's going to USC.
That is a good one. What will you say next? That Kylie Fitz is also not in the Army? Knights of Columbus! Well, that's who I pay when I park at Ramona Stadium. Stratton Watch. Chaparral's Chris Stratton is on every High School Gamma Team show. The only person getting more airtime than Stratton is Honey Boo Boo.
So why do you think Murrieta Valley had such a great season?
What makes a rainbow? What makes the waves in the ocean? Why do trees grow? We will never know. What can I say? The camera loves me. Keep watching High School Gamma Team.
Game time!
Ridiculous. Glad that guy did not do the show tonight for the quarterfinals. All right, the highlights roll on in the Central Division. Heritage taking on Arlington. Angel, let's go ahead and just roll the video that we have. It'll be a surprise to all of us because I have not seen it either. We've got Miriam Swanson standing by in the lounge to kind of break this one down, but it was all Heritage pretty much in this one. You know who caught that touchdown pass? Jamal Morrow. Super bad?
But it was going to Marvin Hefo, and Jamal intercepted it.
Jamal intercepted it from
his
Marvin, but for a Heritage touchdown.
Exactly.
So there you got it.
It's a pretty sweet play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can come back over here live, Angel, to the lounge. Miriam Swanson was at the big Heritage Arlington game where, well, first off, super bad. Jamal Morrow, he did play, right?
He played. He got kind of dinged up in the third quarter and didn't play like midway through the third quarter from then on. But by then they had it under control, and he still finished with 200 plus yards and
did he really?
27 carries or so. And he, he's a beast.
And he intercepted. He scored a touchdown and intercepted a pass from his own team all in one play.
Right, which is hard to do. But if you're an athlete like that kid is, then, well, why not?
Yeah. Well, okay, so they had the lead in the second half. He probably, like you said, shut it down just to play it safe.
Well, he was down a little bit. He got hit, I think, on a run out of bounds, and he was down for a little bit. Went to the trainers, but I saw him afterwards. He looked fine. He wasn't hobbling too badly and had a big smile on his face.
So was it more what Heritage did right tonight, or did Arlington just not really have their A game in this one?
I think Arlington could have played better because I've seen Arlington play better, but a lot of that had to do with Heritage and just, I mean, their line is big and strong and tough, and then they've got Jamal, who's pretty fantastic, and then Sione.
Taki.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Who's a stud too. I mean, that guy's like 6'3", 2 something.
And he's the cousin of the Hefos. Did you know that?
Yeah, something like that.
It's all one big family out there.
Yeah.
So,
don't mess with them.
And then,
but they're tough. Yeah.
They're real tough. We've seen some highlights where I think it was Lima High actually carrying the ball, which is scary to think a guy that size running at you with the ball and just mowing people over. So Heritage now gets Kaiser in the semifinals. Kaiser beat Temescal Canyon tonight 14-10 in the quarterfinals. So Kaiser Heritage in the semis. I don't know if you've even seen Kaiser.
I saw him last week.
Did you see him last week? All right, so you've seen these two schools back to back. I mean, where do you kind of see this matchup going next week?
Kaiser's a real good defense, but I don't know if they've come across a team as stout and tough and strong and powerful as Heritage. I mean, Heritage just kind of does what it does and just kind of grinds you to pieces. And I don't know, and they're kind of deep, so I think Heritage has the advantage, but I don't know, Kaiser's a spunky bunch. We'll see what happens.
Well, we could go down the list. They've got super bad Jamal Morrow. His younger brother, right, Isaiah, who's a sophomore, was putting up some good numbers in his absence. Lima High, Hefo. Darius Allensworth, did he play tonight? I know he did not play tonight.
I think he's done. Maybe.
Is he done for the season?
I think.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's not
But he did not. We know he did not.
He didn't play tonight. Okay. Yeah, I think he's done for the year. But I could be wrong. Sorry, Coach Birch. I don't know. We'll find out next week.
So, Darius, if you're watching the show, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. You probably know her Twitter anyway, so let us know what's going on with you, man. Because you mentioned Kaiser. We did a feature on Kaiser earlier this year about their defense and how great they are. So, and they held Temescal to 10 points tonight. So they will be challenged when they take on this Heritage team. So did Heritage, was it like 80% run now that they didn't have Allensworth, or did they throw a little bit?
I think it was 98% run. They threw 2 passes for touchdowns.
That's not bad. If you're going to throw, might as well go for a touchdown, right?
Even Jamal's picking it off.
So Matt Bradshaw was like, "Dude, is that an INT and a touchdown, or how does that work on my stick?" So super bad getting that one.
Yeah.
So 35-7. What was the sense after the game from Arlington, where they felt like they didn't put their best foot forward?
Yeah, they were disappointed. But I think when they look back on this season, people around here probably didn't expect them to compete for a league title this year, and they were right there with Rancho and North the whole way. And besides one bad game against North, they had a really great season.
Yeah, if you look at the big picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they do it without. I mean, they don't have any superstars on the team. Ruben Kelly's a really good running back, but they don't have an elite Division I hot shots or anything like that. And they work well together, and it's a cool team.
Awesome. Thanks, Miriam. You're the bomb.
You're the bomb.
All right, let's go to the Central Division scores. Angel, Paloma Valley over Colony, 56-14. PV is moving on. Rancho Verde over Elsinore, final score of 42-40. So it's Paloma Valley and Rancho Verde in the semifinals. On the other side of the bracket in the Central Division, Kaiser over Temescal Canyon, 14-10. And Kaiser will get Heritage. Heritage defeats Arlington, 35-7, your final score. All right, back here live in the studio here. We're going on to the Eastern Division now, where top-seeded Citrus Hill went on the road to Rialto. Angel, let's roll those highlights. That's where Angel was. He went to this game and did another great job for us. Quarterback Trevor Hodge for the Hawks, airing this one out to KJ Young. That's a pretty good duo there. They always strike big time on offense. And then Rialto, though, they've got a pretty good duo in these two guys. Quarterback Javon Morgan to Willie Moore, who goes in for the score. Pretty good 1-2 punch there for Rialto. But then later, going to slip into my PJs. That's my PJ Walker, 90 yards on the touchdown run. And he goes in for the touchdown there for Citrus Hill. Their offense was rolling tonight. I mean, aside from maybe Centennial, these guys probably put up the second most points, them in Norco, because they can really pile it on. There's P.J. Walker again. Yes, he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. He kind of does a little bit of everything for Citrus Hill. And then he did the work. Time to get paid. P.J. Walker goes in for the touchdown here. Rialto looking to hang tough, but there is Jack Brown. What can Brown do for you? The interception here for Citrus Hill, and they would capitalize. Hodge, the deep ball, over the shoulder to K.J. Young. That is how you get it done. And then it's P.J. Walker going in for another touchdown run there for Citrus Hill. Rialto, though, going back to the old Javon Morgan to Willie Moore connection. Now, check out Willie Moore here. He's going to split two defenders and goes in for the touchdown here. And Rialto trying to hang with this high-powered Citrus Hill offense. This time, Hodge just dumping it out there to K.J. Young on the end. He gets around the end, down the sideline. Nobody will touch him. He goes in for the touchdown. Citrus Hill is very hard to keep up with if you're trying to get into a shootout with the Hawks. Rialto trying to do their best, though. Here's Hodge to James Ooten for the touchdown. Hopefully I'm saying that one right. O-O-T-E-N, Ooten for the touchdown. Rialto did hang tough, as we mentioned. They've got some firepower, but just not quite enough. Robert Hampton goes in for the touchdown, and Citrus Hill did win tonight by final score of, let me get out my bracket, 54-28. All right, back here live in the studio. Let's see, we're going on to, we're going to keep it in the Eastern Division. Beaumont taking on Serrano. The Cougars have had a great season, but what would they do against a Serrano team that runs very well? They had a great defense. Would they stack up against Serrano? Let's go ahead and roll the video, Angel, from Beaumont High School. And there's the Cougars, and yes, they love HS Game Time live. Thanks, guys, for watching all season long. We appreciate it. Serrano gets it cracking early on the ground, in for a touchdown there. And then how about some more Serrano ground game? Beaumont having a tough time slowing these guys down on the ground. The Deuce getting loose on that one. That would set up another Serrano touchdown. The Deuce flies in over the goal line. 14-zip, Serrano in. This one, Beaumont, though, they would come to battle. Josh Martin in at quarterback, hooks up with Greg Rincon for the big gain here just inside the 10-yard line. And then Martin rolls out, hits the old double deuces there, who goes in for the touchdown. Beaumont, that's their only touchdown of the game, unfortunately. The Cougars lose 52-7 to Serrano. So tough loss there for Beaumont. All right, let's go check out the Eastern Division scores. I got my bracket out. We're gonna fill this thing out together. All right, let's go to the first one. Citrus Hill Rialto, 54-28. Citrus Hill is a winner. The top seed gets Tockwitz. Tockwitz in a shootout with Oak Hills, and they get it done. Remember the Titans, 67-56. Now to the other side of the bracket. It's Beaumont losing to Serrano 52-7. But, hey, we did get the one Cougars touchdown, so that's good. And the Burros taking on our boys from Carter. And Carter goes on the road all the way to Ridgecrest, California. And Carter wins 20-3, so it will be Carter and Serrano coming up in the Eastern Division semifinals. All right, back here live in the studio. Now we're moving on to the, just flip your page on your brackets, to the East Valley Division. And we pick it up with the Sty Harriston experience. Now, they were hosting Linfield Christian, and I spoke with Dallas House. He's the big defensive star for Linfield Christian. He's a Division I recruit. A lot of big-time schools are looking at him. He plays up on the line, and I spoke with him and said, dude, listen, you got to stop Sty Harriston if you have any chance of beating Banning, because this guy is unbelievable. He's, he plays for Banning, and it's his first year at quarterback, but he's really just grabbed the reins and just ran with them at the quarterback position. The guy, they snap the ball to him, and he just takes off. And I said, Dallas House, you got, if you're gonna stop Banning, you got to plug up the front right there and stop Sty Harriston, which is easier said than done, because Sty Harriston has ran over every single team that Banning has faced this season. All right, Angel, let's roll the highlights from Banning High School. There's Sty. Too bad he, is so shy. He never, likes to get in front of the camera. Yeah, right. Sty Harriston, a ham for the camera. We love it. We love to put him on HS Game Time live. Second quarter, the Sty Harriston experience. Sty, you went from 17 back to 8. What's up, man? Hit me up. Tell me why you went back to number 8. Maybe they just sewed up your jersey and they stitched it up and it was good to go, because he originally had 8 this year, had it torn, then he went to 17, so now he's back in 8. And how about this touchdown run later in the second quarter? Sty Harriston, according to our math, had nearly 400 yards on the ground before halftime. That wasn't even the full game. He finished with 8 touchdowns. Linfield Christian gets the touchdown there on the quarterback keeper. Just too much Sty in this one, though. Stays on his feet here. Another big gain deep into Linfield Christian territory. And that would set up Alvin Harper. Check out the deuce. Breaking off a couple tackles here and into the end zone for another Banning touchdown. And now we move to the third quarter, and the cheerleaders were just doing a ton of jumping jacks. They usually do push-ups, but Banning was scoring too many points, so they went to jumping jacks. Here's Sty Harriston, ladies, and keep doing the jumping jacks because here comes another touchdown. Sty Harriston finished with 8 touchdowns. He ran for 7. He caught 1 touchdown. He kind of did everything. And there's a shout-out also to the stat girl and the girls on the Banning sideline who always watch HS Game Time. We appreciate it, ladies. Jasmine, China, and Ashlyn. And they will be back in action next Friday because Banning is moving on. So ladies have more stats to keep. Banning will take on Rim of the World, a rematch, a league rematch in the semifinals. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the East Valley Division scoreboard. Top seed Ontario Christian doubles up Big Bear 28-14. And the other side, Harupa Hills over Citrus Valley 23-21. So it's Harupa Hills and Ontario Christian in the semifinals. Banning blast Linfield Christian 71-14. Sty with those 8 touchdowns in the game. They get Rim of the World over St. Margaret's. Final score of 28-14. So Banning, Rim, the rematch in the East Valley Division semifinals coming up this Friday. All right, there's a live look at our newsroom. I think, according to my math, it's 11:46, so the newspaper should be out by now. Be sure to check out Saturday's Press Enterprise for all your stories, all your scores, all your stats. I'm sure there's a lot of great stuff from the quarterfinals of the CIF playoffs. All right, back here live in the studio. We're going to go over a couple more scores and highlights before we leave tonight. So we'll be right back. Please keep it here on HS Game Time Live. Oh, yeah, I forgot. The Arlington cheerleaders were on the end of that one. All right, before we get to Chris Erickley here in the Centennial Murrieta Valley highlights and the Paloma Valley Colony, my boy Matt Palmer from Heritage hooking me up on Facebook saying Darius Allensworth is out for the season. Newsflash, he's been out since week 4. So I don't know. That went under my radar somehow, and I thought Darius and I were tight. But Matt Palmer's son is Matthew Palmer, number 12. So he's actually played in place of Darius and having a great season for the there goes my lid for the Patriots. So he's saying Matt Palmer plays for Darius on defense, and Marvin Hefo is playing for Darius on the offensive side of the ball for Heritage.
Darius, I saw him at the game against Elsinore a couple weeks ago. He told me he did have a knee injury. I think it was the ACL, MCL. I forget which it was, but he was undergoing the MRI and didn't look promising, I was told, and apparently that is the deal. I thought they were going to do a little Brian Wilson and put the magic tendon in there.
Oh, yeah?
Brian Wilson said he had the Sasquatch tendon implemented in his
That's a hot
elbow.
commodity.
So maybe I thought they were going to do the Sasquatch tendon in Allensworth.
Can't go wrong with Bigfoot.
I don't know. Didn't know if you could get it in time.
All right, Chris, let's keep this going. So let's go to Paloma Valley next, right?
Actually, we begin with that Centennial Murrieta Valley.
Well, we've got Paloma Valley next.
Well,
but-
pardon me.
Yeah.
Flip-flop it. Rock and roll, baby. Paloma was rocking and rolling tonight on the field and with the band. Ray Golden looking to get Paloma off to a golden start. Thought he had a pick six. It's a party at the Paloma house, but wait a second. Block in the back. The pick was good, just called back, not quite a pick six, but David Solis would take care of that. He's putting on a few spin moves on his way to the touchdown. All Paloma tonight. Pep and the Paloma Valley party would continue. More from Paloma D. This time Felix Bogroff with the pickpocket pick off there. Paloma right back to work on Brent Bohm letting it fly to his buddy. He's on the same page as Marcus Page. This one for a 40-yard pickup. Then once again, it's Pep's boy Solis back at it. Once again, get him on your fantasy team immediately for a late addition, another touchdown. Then Matt Orzek continuing to get it done. This time, Paloma working on D as well, coming up with the sack. All Paloma tonight, 56-14 would be the final score. Paloma, I think you were like the Rudy Rudiger. You just fired him up with that pick when you were the only guy to pick him last week for the W, and they have just been
You got to
on a roll.
believe. Got to believe.
Gotta believe. That's the one thing you got to do is believe. And right now they are believing that probably they are going to have a real nice showdown with Rancho next
Yeah, they've
week.
got the Rancho Verde, but if for some reason they got past Rancho Verde, how awesome would it be to see them get a rematch with Heritage, their league rival? It's a big Menifee. They call it the Menifee Bowl, I think it was. Heritage against Paloma Valley.
Old Town would shut down. The Hefo family would be...
And the Talkie Talkies.
And the Talkie Talkies. They would be flying in from around the globe to see that one. How about that?
All right, so that was the Central Division. Now to the Inland Division, a big-time showdown with a ton of points.
Big-time showdown, Centennial and Murrieta Valley. Shorts on, game on, says Matt Logan. How about it? Any degree, temperature, he'll have the shorts on. How about Andrew Blake letting it fly? They're down 42-14 mid-second quarter. They pick up the touchdown right there. 42-21. Centennial offense would not be stopped, though. Bobby Weber running the TD in. Plenty more of that. 49-21 the score at that point. Damon Nolan, he's our old buddy on the top plays of the week. He said, Pep, put me on there again last week. A 95-yard kickoff return for a TD. This time, he's going Hondo. 100 touchdown. 100 yards on the touchdown. 49-28 the score. First play of the next drive. Pep, you eat cream of wheat. Centennial prefers Joe Wheat. He's gone for his second touchdown of the game. His dad takes the photos on the sideline. He's getting a prime time shot of that one. How about it? Nighthawks trying to keep up the pace. Blake with the screen pass to Jacob Augustine. He's gone for 70 yards on the touchdown. Murrieta Valley trying to keep up, though. Husky Nation would not be stopped. A well-oiled machine on offense tonight. Weber over the middle to Troy Dye. How about that touchdown for Huskies once again? Jalen Johnson. We didn't see much defense tonight, but we did see a little bit here. A sack for Jalen Johnson. And finally, Bobby Weber off to the races once again. 8 touchdowns for him tonight. 6 passing and 2 on the ground. How about it? He heard about Sty Harriston and he said, Sty, let me show you how it's done. 8 touchdowns tonight for Bobby Weber. How about it? 70-35 the score on that one, by the way. A real... if you had the fantasy defense of Murrieta Valley tonight, I'm not sure you racked up any fantasy points.
Yeah, so Centennial's moving on. They get Upland, who defeated Redlands 28-14. Upland's got a star on their team. His name's JoJo Mathis. He's a guy on the line, but he plays like he's a skill position player, but he's this huge guy.
Isn't he going to a pretty good school?
Yeah, he's like he's one of the big time recruits. He might be going to SC. I'm not sure, but his name's JoJo Mathis. He wasn't at 100% tonight, but it's still good enough to.
Well, they're going to need something to stop that Centennial offense because with Weber, Joe Wheat, you got Mr. Crevichet, and you've got your boy Trey, Beats by Trey.
What about Pascarella?
Pascarella, watch out for him. And also number 15, Dye. They look like the Rams of that Kurt Warner Rams team. of yesteryear.
Did Sammy Logan get in the game, or did she dress out?
It was 70-35 at the end of the third quarter, and I said, you know what, I think it's safe to take off because I knew I had quite a drive.
Let's see, who was
she may have gotten into the game in the. It was Mr. Who was covering the game? David Lassen. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. He may know, but the score was 70-35 at the end of three quarters, and that ended up being the final score. So we know that if she got in the game, she didn't score a touchdown, but she might have gotten in the game.
That's good math right there.
Yes, thank you.
All right, that's Chris Ericoli. He just did it again. Awesome highlights, Chris. All right, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon, but let's take a quick look at the Inland Division scores and show you another game or two real quick before we say peace out for the night and come back on Saturday for the big show. Vista Murrieta over Norco, 31-16. So it is the Broncos in the semis taking on Rancho Cucamonga, defeating Charter Oak, 23-7. I'm a little surprised by that score. How about you? So it's Vista Murrieta and Rancho Cucamonga in the Inland Division semis. On the other side of the bracket, Upland doubles up Redlands, 28-14. Craig Lee did have a good game for the Terriers, but not enough in this one. And Centennial all over Murrieta Valley, 72-35. So it's Centennial and Upland in the semifinals. All right, back here live in the studio, there was with the scores. Let's show you a couple early highlights from Vista Murrieta taking on Norco tonight. We'll have bonus highlights from this one, a complete highlight package of Vista Murrieta and Norco in the Saturday Scouting Report. So please come back on Saturday and check that out. But here's just a quick little sample of what happened tonight. Angel, let's go ahead and roll that video of Vista Murrieta on the road taking on Norco tonight. And this is a couple quick early highlights from this one. As we said, our guy Rex Robertson was on the scene, and he will have complete highlights for us for the big Saturday Scouting Report. Nick Stevens going in for the touchdown there for Vista Murrieta. And then we know Norco can run, but on this play, they will go to the air. Colton Gerhardt fakes the handoff, drops back, and has the touchdown strike. And you do not want to get into a shootout with Vista Murrieta. This one was actually fairly low scoring, I guess, in the big scheme of things. Here it's Stevens handing it off to Keyshawn Holmes. What up, Holmes? In for the touchdown here as Vista Murrieta goes on to defeat Norco 31-16. So, Eric, it was, a one-touchdown game late in this one? Was it like 24-16 or something like that?
Norco got it to 24-16 and recovered an onside kick, but was stopped short on fourth down by 1 yard, and then Sue Cravens closing out the game, 69-yard touchdown run to kind of end things. But, pretty sloppy game for Vista Murrieta, especially offensively. 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions from Nick Stevens today, but their defense just swarming all over the place, totally shut down Norco's offense. Norco's offense had 39 yards after 3 quarters.
Total offense
after 3 quarters. They did get 96 yards in the fourth quarter when they decided to just start going with some quick short passes to move the ball. But yeah, that Vista Murrieta front line, was absolutely great. The person that Todd Gerhardt was raving about, we know about Bryce Smith, Sue Cravens, but the person that Todd Gerhardt just absolutely gushing about on Vista Murrieta's defense is Curtis Bolton, one of the defensive ends, number 18, was just everywhere making plays.
All right, so Vista Murrieta is moving on to the semifinals. On the same side of their bracket, Rancho Cucamonga and Charter Oak. Rancho Cucamonga wins 23-7. Are you surprised?
No. I mean, kind of look at my, at the beginning of the year, Rancho Cucamonga was my pick to win this division before everything happened. So I'm not surprised that they're here. They got a great defense. I believe at least 6 players on that defense have already committed to Division I colleges. Sue Cravens already interested in the matchup because I believe Chris Hawkins is already a USC commit, and Tahar Goodman also looking at SC, so he's kind of looking at that. But same 4 semifinalists from last year in this division. We're seeing a little bit of flip. Last year, Centennial played Cucamonga and Vista played Upland, but we're seeing kind of the power teams in this division right now.
Now, Rancho Cucamonga, if you think back, 17-14 against North. Like, North battled them. Mm-hmm. So what Rancho Cucamonga team are we going to see,
I mean, it depends, and they're familiar with Vista Murrieta. Having, 2 years ago, they played in kind of an epic double overtime game in the semifinals. So, this is a pretty familiar matchup. Cucamonga, it's one of those teams where can they beat Vista? Sure, they have a defense that can do well. The higher scoring it gets, the worse it is for Cucamonga because they may not have the offense to go toe-to-toe with Vista. I mean, what we saw here, Norco forces 4 turnovers in the game, wins the turnover battle 4-0, and still loses. I mean, that's how good Vista's defense can kind of turn it up and score on that. So, Rancho's going to have to force some turnovers. They're going to have to catch Vista Murrieta on a bad day and play their best game. The problem with Norco today is they caught Vista on a bad day, but only their defense. Really, Norco's defense was the only one that really had a good day. The offense really struggled. So it's going to be an interesting matchup there.
How about Sua? Did he look 100%? I mean, he was still kind of ailing.
Yeah, I mean, he mainly was playing on the defensive side of the ball. He got a few touches on offense. They tried throwing to him twice. One time, Justin Martin stepped on a quick pass and got the interception for Norco that set up the first touchdown. And then one time they tried to go deep, and Martin kind of blanketed him. So kind of conservative until the very end. After Vista made that defensive stop, they knew they needed to kind of get a couple first downs to run out the clock, gave the ball to Sua, and like I said, just broke free on that 69-yard touchdown to kind of end it. So, but he looked his usual self. He's still, from what I've seen, he'll make the really great play, but it's guys like Bryce Smith, Tyler Cook, Curtis Bolton. Those are the guys who are just every play you see in there getting things done on there. So that defense, Sua is an obviously great player, but that defense has 7 or 8 great players on there, and they are just extremely fast, and they bring 6-7 guys every time.
All right, before you go, when I heard these stats, I was like, whoa, that's an EPJ by the numbers if I ever heard one. Robert Weber, 8 touchdowns tonight. Sty Harriston, 8 touchdowns tonight. Have you had a chance to kind of process some of the stats and numbers that are coming in tonight?
Kind of looking, the final numbers that we have on Sty Harriston tonight, 484 yards were his final. That right now is 4th best all time in the area, and
career or just for one game?
For one game. The record in the area is 507 by David Dotson. The one that gets me kind of excited is next week, and I'm already pitching to try to go to this game. is banning at Rim of the World because Jacob Taylor now only 128 yards away from the single season rushing record, but Sty Harriston only about 240 yards away from that same mark. So they both might pass David Dotson's 21-year-old scoring record. And, of course, last time these two teams played 49-41 for Manning. So, but Robert Weber, kind of looking, I'd have to look back on touchdown passes. He had 6 touchdown passes, 2 rushing. The 8, I believe, is the most total touchdowns for one quarterback out there. So the thing that impresses me about Centennial is just how efficient they are. I would argue that this is probably their best offense, given that they're putting up points, they're putting up yards, and they're not turning the ball over. I think it's more efficient than the 2010 offense, which set a state record for yards.
And based on what I saw against Redlands and Upland tonight, I don't think they have much trouble with Upland. No, at least from what I've seen.
And they faced Upland. Upland had a great team in 2010, and Centennial faced them and put up 700 yards then. So that's when they did have Michael Eubank, Barrington Collins, some great players. And I expect Centennial's going to have a lot of possessions. Their defense still struggling. They're going to give up points. I expect it to, I expect something into maybe that 50-30 range in that game. But yeah, Centennial right now, I think you can look at almost any team other than Vista Murrieta and say this is a team that can put up 40 on anyone.
I think we're on that Vista Centennial collision course still.
I think it's the one everyone wants to see, and I think it's what we're going to see.
All right, EPJ, you're the best. Let's go to the Angel. Let's go to the Arlington Heritage video we got in real quick before we close out the show. It's kind of hard to see, but Miriam did a great job of bringing us some video back from this one. We'll have to zoom in a little bit for the Saturday Scouting Report and get some names in there. That's Jamal Morrow, I think, intercepting the pass, which is technically a touchdown because the pass was going to Marvin Hefo, but nevertheless, still in there. And my guy Matt Palmer, my boy, says Heritage defense was a beast. I'm sure his son Matthew Palmer was a big player in that as well. As Heritage goes on to beat Arlington 35-7, your final score. So Heritage will take on Kaiser in the semis. On the other side of the bracket in the Central Division is Rancho Verde and Paloma Valley. All right, so we have the big Saturday Scouting Report coming up. We'll have all the highlights, including a complete highlight package of Vista Murrieta take it on Norco. Rex Robertson, our videographer, was at the game. He'll have all the highlights. We're still expecting a couple more other games to come in, so please check out the Saturday show as we break down the entire quarterfinal round of the CIF playoffs. And of course, you can always check us out here online. Our videos and shows are on demand at any time. For everyone here at HS Game Time, thank you for watching, and we will do it again next Friday night. I'm Pep Fernandez, and have a great weekend.